Hey guys, I'm Denise.
And I'm Lindsay, and we're born this gay.
Hello, welcome. Welcome to our channel. This is a podcast where we talk about all LGBT things.
Oh yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a little bit of everything between.
Yeah. So today we're going to take you guys into a little timeline of trans history, because Trans History Week is coming up.
That is very true. Hopefully, if we can get everything right and get this out in time, we will be posting this sometime during Trans History Week.
Yes.
Trans Awareness Week, is that?
Trans Awareness Week, I believe.
We're going over the history.
We're going over the history. Trans Awareness Week is week long, starting on the 12th.
The 12th.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's on a Saturday, which, I mean, who doesn't like to party on a Saturday? So I think what a better day to start it.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we'll get into it, but as always, we like to update you with our lives and everything. And this is my chance to get to know what Lindsay's been doing for a week. So
we do have these usually once a week.
So there was a couple of things that we kind of looked up in order to get trans issues in. And one of the things that we did find is that, here, especially in Texas, doctors who are treating transgender kids are under attack at the moment. Yes.
There's a lot of hatred being thrown their way just for treating these kids that feel that they're, not who they're meant to be. And so, they're doing what in their mind is something that's helpful. What we all, I think, sitting in this room and hopefully y'all watching as well, we think that is helpful as well. But not everyone out there sees it that way. And they're getting threatening letters. I've heard of a couple bricks thrown through windows in offices. And there's some scary things going on. And we want to actually ask you guys if we have any members of the transgender community listening in right now. If you guys have had any kind of experience in the medical field, like with, maybe people talking to you in or out of the office, just any kind of experience that you had, positive or negative, we'd love to hear about it. Because, I think me and Denise are a little bit sheltered when it comes to that. So we don't understand, and we'd love to. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. Any type of medical story that you have, I'm definitely down to listen. It's really unfortunate in the fact that I feel like in the trans community, getting any type of medical help is already like a burden. It's already really hard to do. It sucks not being able to have that many doctors who are willing to even look at your cases or call you by the right pronouns. So it's even more saddening that the doctors that are supportive, the ones that, are there,
are getting backlash like this. Now, the dime in the dozen are still being, thrown to the ground, I guess, in a term.
Yeah, it sucks because, that's crazy for you to go from a profession of helping people and then start to fear for your safety just because you've decided to help a certain community. It just makes no sense.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
Yeah, so we know that those issues are pretty relevant for you guys today. And then just a little update. I voted.
Ooh, Denise voted.
Yes, yeah. I did the early voting, which was really easy. It was the first time I've ever voted early. I usually am procrastinate like crazy and I do it election day.
About right.
Yeah. But unfortunately, this election day I will be going out of town. So I knew I had to do it the last. Obviously, I procrastinated the last early.
Day. Yes. Yeah, of course. We still got to get the procrastination in there somewhere.
But and it was really easy. I was in, I was out. It literally took me from the time I pulled into the parking lot till the time I pulled out of the parking lot 10 minutes. It was really fast.
Wow. Okay.
I was extremely impressed.
Wow. Okay, noted, guys. It's that easy.
Yeah.
10 minutes of your time.
Unfortunately, I present as, a little bit more masculine, but I very rarely get misgendered. I know that's kind of an issue for you all the time.
It has recently become since I cut off my hair.
Yeah.
Yes, I get misgendered quite often.
Yes, yeah. But I guess it would suck even more. We were reading basically that there's issues, especially in the trans community, whenever you're going to a poll.
Where they're not wanting to take the ID because you may have a different gender on your ID than what you are presenting as, and they won't accept it. And we've heard stories of people being forced to out themselves as trans just so that they can get a chance to vote. And I don't think that's what this country's about. You're supposed to just be able to vote. Like,
yeah, I mean,
democracy.
I can kind of understand it from like the poll worker's perspective. If, I see an ID and it looks completely, especially if I guess the picture looks completely different. Yeah. Right. But if the picture looks the same, and so what if it has, a different letter in the gender field than you expect? I don't see why that's like move on. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could also ask questions to verify the ID. There's tons of information on your ID card that you could just, ask and verify that, what's your address, your date of birth, Yeah, I mean, there's other ways to verify other than the picture on the ID.
Yeah. That would be the only reason I could see why it would, like, I would question it if I was there. Just because they're so... voter laws have become under scrutiny in the past couple years.
That's another story.
Yeah, different podcast. But because of that, I know that they're a lot stricter. So it's in a way, I can see it, but it's still not right to deny someone to be able to vote.
Not at all.
Especially in the states where you can't vote from afar. You're required.
You have to show up to vote and vote in person. Yeah,
that sucks. So with that being said, guys, we saw these issues and we decided that for Transgender Awareness Week, we wanted to give you a little bit of a timeline.
Yeah, let's go back over some history. I mean, we've talked about like LGBT history as a whole before, but never just really focused in on transgender history.
Yep.
And guys, when we did, holy cow, they do not teach you this in school. It really only took like one Google search and we went down a huge rabbit hole and just found out so much information.
Huge rabbit hole.
That being said, though, we did research all of this. So there is a chance that we may have gotten a couple of dates or a couple of facts misread or a little false facts out there. But if you guys see something or hear something that we may have missaid, please go ahead and include it down in the comments, because we're just here to educate ourselves and to maybe educate you guys a little bit. So we want to make sure we're putting the correct information out there.
Yeah, completely agreed. I want to be, if I make a mistake, I want to be corrected so that way, we know for the future.
Nicely though, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys. I'm a delicate flower. But yeah, all right. So the definition of trans, we'll just start with there, is denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender does not correspond with their birth sex. So, I mean, basically, if you have the wrong parts, you feel like you're in the wrong body.
Right. I can't imagine how frustrating that feeling is.
Oh, I kind of could. Because I've always known that I like the more masculine roles.
I mean, I've felt uncomfortable in women's clothing before. I can't imagine being uncomfortable with my own body. Well, I mean, we said we did research on it. We just found all these different stories, and I was reading a whole bunch of different personal stories. And there's people who just really can't stand to look at themselves in the mirror and just don't know how to process that. And that is so awful. And I'm so sorry if any of you guys listening out there have gone through something like that. I can't personally imagine that feeling. Sorry to be a downer there.
Oh, no, you're good. Back to the history. So the history of transgender people, they've been around since ancient times. We learned that basically the Roman emperor, I'm going to butcher this name, Elagabalus. I have no idea. Anyway,
right here.
Shit. So anyway, this guy, right? He preferred to be called a lady rather than a lord, and sought sex reassignment surgery, and in the modern day has been seen as a trans figure. Now, this was back in 222 AD, which is a crazy long time.
Yeah, we're in 2022.
Yeah.
That's a crazy long time ago.
Good 1800 years ago, guys. So, I mean.
And he's attempting sex reassignment surgery.
Yeah.
I say, we got to correct ourselves now. We keep saying she.
Oh, yeah, because I guess she preferred to be called a lady. Yeah, you're right. Okay. And an emperor, too. So,
person of high stature, for sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
But attempting sex reassignment surgery back then.
Yeah, fuck that.
That sounds painful. That sounds really painful.
Yeah, because you back then you only had one doctor in town. Maybe he had an assistant or something, but still, you were trusting this into wow. If you were an emperor, though, you could probably afford
you could
to
get
search.
others. Yeah,
but imagine just.
But what kind of medicine did they have back in?
Rum,
222. Yeah. That was your numbing. You just got really drunk.
Yeah, drugs, cocaine, probably. No, I don't know.
No, did they even? I don't even think they had that back then. Yeah, no, there's probably something else for them back then, but
just something we don't know. Just old drugs.
I went to go start the next sentence. Immediately got stumped by the name.
We'll let you go with the next one. Heras on the Indian subcontinent and Kathois in Thailand have formed trans, feminine, third gender, social, and spiritual communities since ancient times, and with their presence documented for thousands of years in texts, which also mentions trans male figures.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
I like it. So, 1848 in Columbus, Ohio, an 1848 law forbade a person from appearing in public in a dress not belonging to his or her sex. In the decades that followed, more than 40 U.S. cities created similar laws limiting the clothing of people were allowed to wear in public.
That makes no sense to me.
That makes my blood boil.
For some reason, I feel like the United States was founded on the whole First Amendment right of freedom of speech.
And speeches can be correlated into clothing.
Yep. So to have a law that you're only allowed to wear certain things is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's absurd to me. Like, clothes are clothes in my mind. Like, girl clothes, guy clothes, like, they're just different cuts and they're just different lengths. Like, who says that they belong to a specific gender?
Yeah. I can't remember his name. And he's not transgender at all, but he is a very built, good-looking man. Totally takes care of himself, but his clothing is both feminine and masculine. So he'll wear, a nice top, a nice button-down top, and then a skirt with heels.
Okay.
I really
rocks it.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
We'll put him up here. But I think, again, if you feel comfortable, if you like to wear heels because it shows off your legs, or if you, in my case, if you like to wear a button down and you fold it at the forearm, right?
Yeah, all the time.
It makes you feel suave. I don't see the issue.
Yeah, no, it's all about what you want to wear. Don't let anyone tell you different.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, shame, and all the cities that followed. That's
1848 too. Like and that was who gets to decide too who what dress belongs to a certain sex, because I believe back then these times men wore tights. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean,
they wore tights and wigs.
I'm sure it was more distinguished, like, a woman had to wear a dress and a man had to wear a suit kind of deal. So you couldn't like mix those two. I think that's might be what they're going along there. But you are very much so correct. There were heavy tight usage.
Yeah, heavy tight usage. They wore makeup and the wigs were a thing. So okay.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, the wigs for sure. Yep. Yeah.
All right. So jump to 1864. 20 years later, first notes on record identifying with a gender different than the one at birth. It came from Karl Heinrich Ulrich.
Hey, we just did a little
TikTok. Maybe he might. I was about to say
that's probably the rough draft TikTok that's not gonna make it. We're not the best with TikTok, guys.
No, we're not. But yeah, this doctor, I guess he was all over all of our trans research. I saw him multiple times.
Yeah, he's credited for a lot of like the first research done on trans individuals.
Yes. He coined the term earnings. Earning meaning a female soul in a male body.
And then you go to 1899. Magnus Hirschfeld started a journal called the Yearbook of Intermediate Sexual Types to share new ideas of sexual variation, such as homosexuality, transvestism.
Yeah, transvestism. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Transvestism? That sounds kind of weird coming off my tongue. And transsexualism, identifying as other sexes.
Yeah, all right, go doctor, because right now you would be looked down upon for researching.
Yeah, right.
Transgender IDs. Okay, so 1918. Now we're in the 20th century. Alan L. Hart became one of the first medically documented cases of gender reassignment surgery.
Wow.
In the 1918.
1918.
Ooh. Now this is back when they're probably using cocaine for, cough medicine.
Yeah.
It's probably around this time.
They're using a lot of different things that we would not touch with a 10-foot pole today. So.
Oh, yeah. No, I found out. Small tangent. I found out that they used to treat acne with x-rays. So an x-ray to your face. It would get rid of your acne.
Yeah,
for sure. But all the radiation going to your face caused skin cancer to all those patients,
I mean, hey, 50, you don't have
60
acne
years
anymore.
later. Oh my God. Yeah. That's science. I mean, we're trying to be helpful, but we tend to get it wrong as humans, guys. So,
yeah.
Okay.
All right. So a year after that, in 1919, the same Dr. Hirschfeld opened the Institute of Sexology to incorporate more hormone therapy and gender reassignment surgery.
Yes.
Hirschfeld, unlike his colleagues, was not looking to cure an illness in their minds. He wanted to have access to medical treatments and equal rights. Yo! Yes.
Thank you, Hirschfeld.
Yes, that is awesome. I never heard of this Dr. Hirschfeld before this, but quickly rising up to be one of my top 10 doctors. Let's go.
Yeah, that was 100 years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This. Good
and
job.
it says, unlike all of his colleagues, like everyone else wanted to treat an illness in their minds, making them think that they were the wrong gender. He's like, no, it's not. That's not the illness. The illness is that they are so unhappy because they're not in the right body. So we need to help them get in the right body. Yeah. Wow, what a concept.
I wonder how those doctors were trying to treat the illness. Interesting.
Definitely loony bins.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I know this is probably, I don't know if this would be like when the shock therapy, because I know shock therapy was a part of our history on how they used to, cure.
I don't know how long late. I mean, I don't doubt that they were using shock therapy in the 1920s.
That's crazy. Unlike his colleagues, everyone obviously just looked at it like you're not normal, so there's obviously something, in your brain. Whereas instead of just accepting all people for the way they think.
Yeah, and y'all hold the phone, because this fact right after this, I just read ahead and I'm like, wow, 1922, the first successful surgery from male to female, Dr. Richter, which was Hirschfeld's patient.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. He just had 3 facts right off the bat, throwing out dates out there. I'm in love.
Hey,
that was good.
Good stuff. Yeah, and that was only 3 years after the Institute of Sexology was built. So that's awesome. Yeah, you were successful 3 years later. Good shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, Miss Dora Richter. I bet you were happy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
For successful surgery.
The 1930s and 1933, the Institute of Sexology and all its archives were destroyed by Nazis, and Hirschfeld was denounced by Hitler and ran out of Germany. Now, I'm just going to say this. You're doing something right when Hitler doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Everything that you've done.
What?
Yeah.
What? Do you think Hirschfeld was Jewish, or do you think it was just the fact that he was working with
I wonder if anyone out there knows.
Yeah. Curious now. But yeah, poor Imagine, because that was literally only 11 years after the first successful surgery. And it was only really 24 years after he opened it. So imagine having your entire life's work burned. Oh, and then being stripped of your title.
Yeah, and you're kicked out of your country. And so, talk about a bad day.
Yeah. Okay, so and then
1952, Christine Jurgensen publicly announced her transition and landed a front page story on a New York Daily News, increasing the visibility of trans lives in the media.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
Imagine how confident or brave you'd have to be to
brave for sure.
to publicly, because that's back then. Again, there's no TikTok, guys. There's no, actually at this point, I don't even know if they had colored TV. So she literally had to, pose for like a magazine.
Yeah.
And
printed on the newspaper.
Yep.
Front page.
Damn. No, that is news. That would take a headline. I'll say if I would probably pick up that paper too, because that would be something that's you don't really see very often.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. All right, Miss Christine. And then 1959, the Cooper Donut riots, riot happened in Los Angeles.
This was one that we kind of had to look into because everyone knows Stonewall was the biggest thing, right? There were so many other riots and sit-ins before Stonewall that don't get as much attention, but
like to me that Cooper Donut is crazy. Because I think that was that wasn't the sit-in, but that was
the Dewey's lunch in 1965. That was the sit-in. Okay. The Dewey's lunch counter.
Good one.
On that one, I remember there was transgender activists who just they walked in and they sat down until they got served.
I like it.
So
I like it. So yeah, that was Dewey's, and then a year later, 1966, the Compton's cafeteria riot. So yeah, this was a place where trans people congregated there, and then this riot was very much like Stonewall, where the police came in and we fought back.
Rioted against the police. Stand up for injustices.
Yeah,
and then a year after that, 1967, we had another incident at the Black Cat. That one, I've just seen the logo of the Black Cat, their neon sign.
Oh no, I
guess
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't remember dates or where the Black Cat is, but I have heard about that one.
Okay, cool. And then 2 years later, guys, the most famous date of LGBT history, it seems like, that we all know is Stonewall, 1969.
And we got to call out the people who we credit Stonewall for.
Yeah, a lot of people, obviously don't know the history of Stonewall, which if you don't, shame on you, but go back to a couple episodes back. A lot of people don't know that the transgender community was kind of on the forefront of Stonewall.
Very much so.
Yeah, Marsha P. Johnson, a very, very famous transgender woman. She is credited
with throwing the first brick.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to hear different stories here and there, but majority of people will say that Marsha P. Johnson threw the first brick.
Yes. And guys, if you are in DFW and you go to our neighborhood down in Dallas, I suggest you take a picture in front of, we have a big old mural of Marsha P. just sitting down there. It's really awesome. It's huge. So definitely go check it out. And then another transgender woman was also there, who doesn't get as much attention as Marsha, but was also very pivotal in our Stonewall riots and even afterwards. And her name is Sylvia Rivera.
Yeah, and we did a little piece on her.
Yeah,
not too long ago.
Yeah,
so
she did a lot for our community. Her and Marsha both started STAR, which was the Street Transvestites Action Revolutionaries. Okay, I like it.
Nice.
But yeah, they would help find food, clothing, and a sense of belonging along the transgender community. Because just like most minority oppressed communities, there's a lot of homelessness.
Yeah.
Among the LGBT community and especially in the transgender community. Yeah.
All right. Moving right along to 1972, Sweden legalized gender reassignment, making the European nation to become the first in the world to allow citizens to legally change their sex.
Hey, go Sweden.
Ooh, we love hearing about a good Sweden story.
Oh, I mean, hell yeah. I love that we were having like really good progress in the LGBT community, especially in the trans community around the 60s, 70s, right? But the fact that it even went farther, it went across the border, and
that's awesome. Yeah.
So you could officially, if you wanted to do some gender reassignment, you officially could head to Sweden and get a surgery done, which I'm assuming was ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, just out of proportion expensive for sure.
Yeah. Do you know what they cost now?
No, not off the top of my head. No.
Okay. I was just curious.
I mean, I've heard that they can be decently
I'm pretty sure in like the tens of thousands. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it was like 50, 60,000 in whatever show that I watched. I want to say it was 50,000 whenever I watched it in the L Word. And that was back in the 2000s. So
yeah. Well, I
can't
mean,
imagine what it is now.
you have to keep buying your hormones, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
So like it's like a running cost.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do know that when you change from male to female, that you have, I mean, there's a lot of upkeep still, which I'm assuming it's the same way reversed. But yeah, there's still a lot of upkeep that you have to do with doctor's appointments. I dated someone who went through gender reassignment surgery, and the upkeep for it, she had to go into the doctor to basically have him take a rod of different sizes and make sure that, you know,
it stayed up there.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, that's one of the measures of upkeep. Trust me, I had the same reaction too. But yeah, because, you know, it's a new part, so you have to tell the body, like, hey, don't close up. We need you to be able to take this size. Type in. Look at that face.
The things they don't teach you.
No one knows about that part. I don't think everyone, you know, just assumes that, you know, if you're going from male to female, that this is just what I assumed at first. So this is going to sound really ignorant, but they just assume that, you know, you just cut it off, right? And then make a slit. And
well, I didn't know what happened after you cut it off, but I just assumed that you just
yeah.
But I didn't like what happens next. But
they just upkeep. Yeah, for sure. And then she had to go up sizes. So that's when I was dating her, she was actually transitioning to a different size. And so there was like a good 2 or 3 days where we couldn't have sex at all because she had already been
penetrated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she had to upkeep that again. That's something.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to cut this out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Holy cow!
But that is something. So good. I don't know why we got onto that.
Gracious. All right. I don't think you did a good job explaining that.
I remember her having difficulty when explaining it to me too. So
I can only imagine like admitting to someone that you're dating that you go and do this often. Like,
yeah, especially she didn't disclose going through any type of surgery or anything until you know, for a while, until after we had sex and everything. So yeah, which made things make sense after that because there was
differences.
There were differences. Yeah, there were just things that I was like, oh, that's unique.
But I mean, just everyone has unique parts, right?
Yeah,
so that's what you
exactly.
just summed it up to. Yeah. Like everyone's vagina is different.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I mean, hers was fine. Obviously, it's surgically put together, so it was like perfect. Yeah. Basically. I mean, it was. Yeah. But there was just things that I was noticing the more I spent time with her. Like her hands were way bigger. Her, you know, her voice would drop and and stuff it was interesting.
We're definitely gonna have to cut that out. You saying another woman's vagina is perfect when you have a wife.
Well, I mean, it was like medically, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
the picture perfect.
I was about to say, when you think of a vagina, it looked like that. No, my wife's
no, okay, all right. Anyways. Oh god. Okay.
We'll go back in.
All right, so moving up to 1979 now, Phyllis Fry organized the National March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights. An estimated of 75, upwards of 125,000 people attended. Fry later became Texas' first openly trans judge.
That's crazy.
Holy cow, Texas too. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, because that's, I mean, we
know, was it later that year that she became the first trans judge? Or was it like maybe a couple years later?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But still, that's saying something. That's
awesome. Just so we're, I mean, give you a little credit. 1979, you somehow got 75 to 125,000 people to attend this march
Mm-hmm.
in Washington. How? Like, there's no Twitter.
Yeah. How do you pass that information around?
It's like, the amount of flyers she had to
or just campaigning.
Yeah.
Like actual traveling and passing around by word of mouth.
I can't see them allowing her to put that on TV.
Or in the newspaper.
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
Because if you're organizing a march, like usually marches aren't government permitted. You're marching to protest the government. So government's not going to necessarily allow you to advertise said things.
No, kudos, because that's insane. That's an insane number now.
Yeah.
To be able to get 75,000 people to go to a march. That's a huge number. Doing that back then, where we don't have the social connections or ability we do now, is crazy. And just the fact that you became literally Texas's first openly trans judge is amazing.
Yeah. The everything jaw dropper.
Hey. Yeah. Get you some Miss Fry. All right. So 1986, we jump to Lou Sullivan. He founded the FTM International. FTM was created to build the lives of female to male transgender individuals. Sullivan also publicly challenged the claims that trans men cannot be gay. Oh yeah, that's right. Sullivan was gay. He was a gay trans man. Yeah, which I think is great. Yeah. I will say, when I was ignorant way back when, and I watched The L Word and I saw Max go for the gay guy, it did confuse me a little bit. But again, you just let who cares who you like? I honestly never cared. And
we watched, when we were doing research, we saw it some kind of, I think it was some other YouTube episode about, the difference between your sexuality and like your physical being. Like, yes, like who I am physically is not also who my sexuality is. Like, I agree. Yeah. So I mean, you can be transgender and also be gay, because those are two different aspects. It's just who you want. Yeah, it's just who you want to love. Yeah. It's nothing to do with what you look like. It's just who you love, and what you look like has nothing to do with who you love. So. Yeah,
can't believe there was actually people who would claim trans men cannot be gay.
Yeah, like obviously you transition to be with girls, right? Like there's no other reason you'd want to be a guy, but wow, just small brains. They're just like,
yeah, of course. Fast forward a couple years, guys. So in 1989, and this also happened in 1992, both Billy Tipton and Wilmer Broadnox, who were both famous musicians, like famous musicians, but they were both posthumously. Is that how you pronounce that?
Don't ask me for pronunciations. That is not my field.
But they were both posthumously outed as having been assigned female at birth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So imagine being famous, like a famous male musician in the crowd and everything. And then later after you die is when everyone finds out, oh,
they were
female.
Yeah, they were trans. Wow.
Yeah. Which is, that's crazy. And this happened like in the late 80s, early 90s. So,
that goes to prove that, like, there's people who say that they can tell a difference between like whether you were born a man or whether you transitioned to a man. Like these were famous people.
And
no one knew. You couldn't tell. They were more likely like singers or guitar players, like heavily like use their voices, and you couldn't tell a difference either.
I commend the families, because the families had to have known, right? Like mom and dad.
For sure, someone close, like
and no one said anything. So get some.
That's awesome.
Craziness. Crazy.
All right, and about the same year, 1992, Athena Garrison became the first transgender person to serve in state legislature.
It happened in the 90s. That's insane.
Wow, that's not that long ago.
That's when we had our first, guys. Again, LGBT rights is just now starting to. Yeah. So just take this. This is the 90s. Like imagine any time before. I guess probably the 50s. Like how hard it was for us. So be thankful.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of people who went through some shit in order to give you the rights you got today. Okay, so 1993, Minnesota became first state to include gender identity in the state employment non-discrimination policy.
Woo! Woo!
Yeah, it took till 1993.
You know, I couldn't figure out why I always liked Minnesota so much. Maybe it's because my family lives there, or just because there's, land of 10,000 lakes. It's always green. But they have always been an ally. Like, throughout all of history, Minnesota's just kind of been, like, poking their head up. Like, hey, guys. Like, I got y'all.
Do you know if Minnesota has, like, a neighborhood, like, area?
I don't know, but I went to, I visited Minneapolis a couple of summers ago. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of walking around the big city, and I swear I saw more people of the LGBTQ plus community than I did of just straight people.
All right. Minnesota.
So I like being in a big city. I've never felt so comfortable.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, y'all go check out Minneapolis. They low key, I had no idea, but
okay. All right.
Y'all rock.
Friendly city.
So we got a string of murders that came through in 1993 is when we're going to talk about the first one. Brandon Tenna?
Yeah, I think so. Brandon
Tenna was violently murdered in Nebraska, and his story actually inspired the movies Boys Don't Cry, played by
Hilary Swank.
Oh, okay. So Hilary Swank was in this movie, right?
Yeah. You do know who Hilary Swank is?
Yeah, and then we watched the trailer for it.
Yeah.
Right? Did we watch a trailer?
I think so.
Or just looked at the pictures.
We might have just looked at the pictures. I've seen the movie though, and it is a damn good movie. So if you're down to watch kind of an older, I want to say it probably came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. But it is a damn good movie. She's obviously a phenomenal actress.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't know it. I didn't know Brandon Tenna inspired it, so kind of makes that movie even better in my eyes now.
Yeah. It's a sad story though.
Yeah, of course. And it gets even sadder because 5 years later, Rita Hester murdered in Massachusetts, followed by a year after that, Barry Winchell was a soldier who was murdered for just dating a trans woman.
Just for he wasn't even what? That's just that one stumps me. That one stumps me. Like you're gonna kill somebody because of the person that they're with.
Yeah, and it's his fellow soldiers who did this to him, which is this is brotherhood, right?
Mm-hmm. They're supposed to have each other's back, and no one gets left behind kind of deal.
Yeah, and yet they targeted him because of the person he loves. Mm-hmm. No sense.
Yeah, and then the same year, Gwendolyn Smith started the Day of Transgender Remembrance to bring the light of the victims of hate crimes against the trans community. There is an annual vigil held worldwide to remember the victims of the previous years.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Get you some, Miss Smith. Thank you for being an ally.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about, and sometimes some bad things have to happen for a little string of light to come around. And
yeah, yin and yang.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting into the 2000s now.
All right, so 2002, Transgender Law Center was founded. This place began to work to change laws and attitudes so that all people can live safely and authentically and free of discrimination.
Sounds like a good law to me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then fast forward to 2006, Kim Coco became the first trans woman to win state office.
Hey, Woo. Get you some, Ms. Coco. 2007, Candace Cain became first trans actor to play a reoccurring actor on TV.
Oh, wow. So not even did you just get just one season. You got second season and third season, a couple episodes here, a couple episodes there. That's a job. That's not just a guest appearance. So that's awesome. All right. So 2010, Kai Allums, first openly trans athlete in the NCAA.
Hey.
I can't imagine that. Awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. Way to go, you.
Hell yeah. And then 2012, Laura Jane Grace is known as the first trans rock star.
Hey.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is a big one here. 2013, mental health field removed gender identity disorder from diagnostics manual. That means that transgender experiences were no longer considered a mental health disorder.
That's crazy that it took till 2013.
2013.
Like,
but, I mean...
I was 23 years old. That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. But, I mean, you're officially not crazy, according to the state. So...
Yeah. It shouldn't No, that's okay. Well, now you're not crazy. Now, actually, yeah, we have a whole week.
Yeah, a whole week of remembrance.
All right, so 2014, Laverne Cox.
Woo! I love me some Laverne Cox.
I love me some Laverne. If you don't know her, she's from Orange is the New Black.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. She became the first openly trans person on the cover of Time magazine. So we were covering last episode, basically, Ellen was probably like the, when she made the cover of Time, that was like the biggest deal. And that was in 1990, I want to say 93, 92, 93. And yeah, it took 20 years before we were able to get the T in our LGBT community on trans or on Time.
Yeah. I mean, better late than never, but
true.
Could have been done sooner.
Yeah. But go Laverne. I love it. I honestly really enjoyed Orange is the New Black, and a lot of it had to do with you. So it was great acting. Okay.
Yeah. And then 2017, which that was the year I graduated high school. A little boy named Joe was the first openly trans kid enrolled in the Boy Scouts of America.
Oh, love it.
Can you just imagine all the parents?
Oh, hell yes.
All the conservative parents out there that just...
Oh, yeah. And this poor little boy. Yeah, he just wants to be part of the Boy
Scouts.
Yeah.
What? I wanted to be in the Boy Scouts growing up.
Yeah, true. Yes. Yeah, because I didn't want to be part of the Girl Scouts.
Oh, no. I did not want to classify myself with that. No.
No. I mean, because all I saw now I know what the Girl Scouts are about, because I had a friend who was in the Girl Scouts, and she learned how to tie knots and stuff.
Right.
And
right.
But I just didn't. Anytime you saw Girl Scouts
cookies.
That's all you see.
Yeah.
That's all you think.
Yeah. And you heard about the Boy Scouts going on camping trips and going on adventures and doing this and earning badges, and I'm like, I never seen any of the Girl Scouts doing this, so I want to be a Boy Scout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We were in the same boat there. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, good for you, little Joe. I hope you had fun in the Boy Scouts.
Hey.
All right. So I think it's time for our favorite part of the episode.
Yeah.
Coming out stories. Today we are going to read, I feel like it's only right that we read a couple of trans coming out stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So first one, got it off the internet. We'll go ahead and link that one down below. But second one that we're going to read today is a name that we actually have said quite a bit this episode.
Yes.
So, all right. I'll go ahead and read the first one then. So this one comes from a person who goes by the name Jay Fernandez. It's a little bit long, so you guys bear with me. The people you see in the media are usually one type of trans person. They're usually binary, identifying themselves as male or female. They usually pass as someone of that gender. They're usually white, and they usually have this narrative that they've always known that they're the wrong gender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That's usually what I see.
Usually the story I hear.
Exactly right.
It makes other trans people scared to tell their stories. Non-binary people are people who don't identify as male or female all the time. There are lots of subsections. You might be agender, you might be gender fluid, bigender, a demi-girl, or a demi-boy. You might not understand the nuances of the differences, but everyone is always making up new identities to match their experience, and that can always be a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
For sure.
Yeah.
While it can be confusing, it's better than saying you can only be this thing and we won't talk about anything else. I just identify as non-binary, and I don't put myself into any sub-identity. Some days I like to be a woman. I'm also okay with identifying as being a guy. I'm pretty much nothing at the moment. All right. I came out as a trans guy and transitioned. I took testosterone. I had the top surgery, chest reduction, and then I had hysterectomy in 2015. The hormones and surgery is about aligning my body so that it should have been at birth. Being born with the correct parts would have made things easier, but at the same time, I don't want to be told what my body is wrong. It's very different to get treatment as a non-binary person. They were dismissive about the fact that I was feminine. Non-binary people are used to it. You're warned when you go into the gender clinics. if you want treatment, you'll have to present as male or female and stick to that story.
Wow.
Yeah, we're talking about the frustrations in the medical field.
Oh, man.
They're making you identify yourself as something that you're not.
Why? I mean...
No, keep reading. I don't want to be a part of any mainstream pro-trans movement if it doesn't include non-binary people. In terms of celebrity, there needs to be a lot more diversity. It's a circle. People don't come out if they don't see anyone like them.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm mixed race. My mom is Spanish and Nigerian. I'm still finding out how I can connect with an identity apart from the Western LGBT identity. That's something I'm still working on. Within their religion, indigenous to the Yoruba people, an ethnic group in Nigeria, there are a lot of gender fluid deities. As a trans person trying to find my own roots, that's the one part of my heritage I can feel positive about.
All right.
Yeah, that was a whole life story in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will, and if I'm being ignorant about this, guys, please let me know. But okay, I can kind of see where they would want you to identify the sex you had at birth, just so they know, like, because from what I know, there's certain treatments that, there's certain illnesses, there's certain things that males go through that women don't, and vice versa, right?
Right. I've heard that.
So I could understand, like, going into the doctor and then wanting to know what sex you were at birth. But for them to tell you that you need to pick a side
and stick to it. Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. Right.
What?
Right. Like, I can understand, like, if you need to know original, like, straight out the womb, what that was. But what I am now, I don't see how that...
Like, to me, the only thing, you just need it for, like, a medical history. You just need that, maybe the original, and then obviously what medications you're taking, or taken before in the past, or diseases you've had, normal medical questions. But for a doctor to impose, for you to choose it, I don't even think he said gender. He just said to choose...
You have to present as male or female and stick to that story.
That's... Fuck you.
Yeah. I don't... That sucks.
Ah, man. Yeah, guys, please share in the comment section if you've gone through any type of medical obstacle.
Yeah,
because that's...
Yeah, because I mean, we kind of sit here in a nice cushioned chair when we hear stories like that. Like, I've never once really had a problem going to the doctor's office and being questioned about my gender, or
like the worst,
having intrusive questions other than medical history questions.
All right, guys. So the next story that we are going to share with you today, I'm really excited because obviously we really, really like her.
Oh, yes.
But it's from Laverne Cox.
Woo! So excited about this one, actually.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. So Cox, who now stars in Orange is the New Black and proudly advocates for trans rights, kicked off the conversation by recalling not the one, but the 2 times she came out.
Wow.
Yeah. Obviously, this is an article, guys, so just bear with me. So I will link it down below, too. So these are in her words. I have kind of 2 coming outs. So I always knew I liked boys, so I came out as gay first, she said. I'm from Mobile, Alabama, but I went to Alabama School of Fine Arts. The funny thing about coming out in art school was that everybody was like, yeah, of course you are.
Okay, so I mean...
So a little tip from her: if you're gay and you want to have a good experience, go to art school.
Yeah, of course.
It makes sense. The art community is big on
big
LGBT
supporters.
rights. Yeah. So Cox added that while the experience was really a gender identity thing rather than a sexual orientation thing, she didn't know it at the time, but a big part of coming out for Cox was talking to her mother about who she really was. Quote, I came out to my mom first as gay my sophomore year, and she freaked out. And then when I came out to my mother as trans a few years later, it was after I started my medical transition. She took that easier.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. She grew. Quote, this time I was living in New York. I was supporting myself. And so she never said, I don't want you in my life. It was just that she didn't understand she had issues with the pronoun thing and the name change.
Mm.
It was just like, girl, you gotta get this together. Thankfully, Cox said that eventually did, with her mom going so far as to give her a plate with "number one daughter" written on it. It's the little things, guys.
It is. It really is.
With time, the actress too started to embrace herself more, though her journey wasn't without struggles. Quote, "When I finally accepted when I started medical transition and said I'm a woman and I'm trans, it was the most empowering thing ever."
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. In the beginning of transitioning, I was so happy to be trans. And then like a year in, I was like, I'm done with being trans. I want to be stealth. I want to blend in. I'm a woman, Cox said. So I had to get to a point where I was happy being recognizably trans. And that's why I started the hashtag trans is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
I like it. If people are not able to come out to friends and family, come out to yourself. Disclose to yourself and tell the truth first to yourself, because that's the most important thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that too, you know. We talk about our coming out stories. When's the first time you came out to yourself? Because that, in my opinion, is an even bigger step than coming out to those around you.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I remember my coming out story pretty significantly, but I remember the day that I finally said to myself, "Oh, you're a lesbian."
Yeah.
I literally remember that day vividly. So
yeah, and it's definitely it's a scary thing to say out loud. Even if you're just talking to yourself, you're looking at yourself in the mirror like, I am a lesbian. Yeah. It's like, oh, it gave me shivers, but yeah, you know, just such an empowering feeling. So yeah, I can relate to that last sentence as well. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that ends our episode. If you liked what you saw, if you wanted to help us out, really helps out our channel if you go ahead and just hit that subscribe button for me.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. That like button is our friend. We love him around here. So we just want to give him all the love and all the touches that we can give him.
Yeah, make it turn blue.
Yeah, and y'all, we're still waiting for those coming out stories. Yeah. We know you guys have them. I know it's a little scary, but you guys can stay anonymous. We'll link our email down below. Y'all just shoot it to our email, say you want to be anonymous, and you'll be featured on our next episode.
Damn right. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, I wish y'all a very happy Trans Awareness Week.
Woo!
Yeah. And I'm Denise.
I'm Lindsay, and we're Born This Gay. We'll see you guys next time.